you've achieved incredible levels of success across everything that you've entered into: military, business, personal branding, books, TV. And so where does that drive to succeed come from, to be the best? And what advice can you give to the audience here that want to achieve success? I wrote this one down: multiple streams of success.
Yeah, I suppose as we go through life, when we're younger, we want to be the best at everything. And I found that when I sort of put myself out there to be the best at whatever was in front of me, I isolated myself quite a lot, because I'd normally, push the person to my left and to my right in order to achieve what I wanted to achieve, to be the best at what I wanted to do. And once I realized that I hit a ceiling with that, because ultimately to get to these level of successes or to become part of a high performance team, it's in the title, right? It's teamwork. You need each other. So I found quite young out quite young that I was hitting these ceilings, and I'd look around me and there'd be no one there, because I'd isolate myself, because I'm just so focused at being the best at what I'd done that nothing else around me mattered. And when you do that, I think it's important that you do that when you're young, because it's trial and error, isn't it? But when I did do that, I realized, I thought, right, I'm the best at this, but how do I become better? And the flip side of that is then becoming the best version of who you are. That's super, super important in order to succeed in anything that you set out to do. So that's the process that I went through. I went through my younger years of really hitting that ceiling multiple times and thinking, why do I keep hitting this ceiling? When I look around me, why is there no one that wants to work with me? Why is there no one there with me that was going to push through to the next ceiling? It's because I was by myself. And then I flipped that. I learned, and I flipped, right, let's just work on being the best version of who I am. And when you work on being the best version of who you are, compassion comes out. Accountability comes out, responsibility comes out, humility comes out, humanity comes out, looking around and wanting the best for that individual. So once I figured that out, that's when I sort of not became unstoppable, but had that unstoppable mindset, because I believed that I could get to where I needed to be as a team, then look around me, and the individual to my left or to my right could really identify those vulnerable moments within me, those weaknesses, and elevate me, and vice versa. I could do that to other people. So I think it's hugely important that you go through that process of trial and error to get to where you need to be. But high performance teams, I found it quite simple, because once I realized that, I could do these things, self-belief kicks in the back end, but then you realize the power of teamwork. I don't want to harp on about teamwork, because I'll break it down later on. And teamwork, all teamwork is about being dedicated and committed to each other. A lot of people think that teamwork is being dedicated and committed to the cause, but when you function in a high performance team, I'd like to think you're dedicated and committed to the cause anyway. That's not an added extra. You don't go, all right, as long as everyone's dedicated and committed. Whoa. You don't function in a high performance team if you've got that on your mind. But when you're dedicated and committed to each other, that's when you really, really get to these next levels, and you slowly chip away percentage by percentage. 0 to 100% doesn't exist. And then ultimately, the recipe to a high performance team is the basics done to a high standard consistently. Now, a lot of people out there do the basics to a high standard, but they're inconsistent at what they do. And when you're inconsistent at what you do, you're unreliable. And when you're unreliable, that's where the trust issues come in. So, can I trust this person to be on time? Can I trust this person to be here? So that consistency with anything that you do in life, whether it's family life, whether it's social life, whether it's, business, whether it's high performance teams, whether it's sports, books, that consistency is absolutely key in everything that you do. And that will then push you to the next level.
Yeah, love that. Thank you. So you entered into the military age 16?
Yep.
Yeah, and you went into the Marines?
Yep.
Paras, the Special Forces?
Yeah, the Trinity.
So you achieved the Holy Trinity?
Yep.
So that meant at every stage you had to grow personally and professionally. And I think that many people want to get to success, but they forget that it's their internal operating model that needs to grow. It's not the external factors in a lot of changes, in a lot of circumstances. Right. So what did the military teach you about personal growth? And your own high performance. So how did they teach you to become a high performer?
Everything starts with you as an individual. You know, if you trust in yourself, if you believe in yourself, then, you know, that process will then translate into everything that you do. And the key thing for me, what the military taught me, was discipline. Now, discipline has multiple avenues if you really break discipline down. Now, motivation comes from discipline. Self-belief comes from discipline. Capability, performance comes from discipline. And I'll give you a small example of how motivation works. A lot of people say, how are you constantly motivated? And I'm not constantly motivated. Trust me, I hit multiple walls multiple times, you know, in a week, in a month, in a year. But then when I do hit that wall, I acknowledge it, and I always revert back to discipline. And I put it in sort of layman's terms for people, because that's how I understand it and that's how I processed it. If you want to hit the gym every morning and you want to motivate yourself to be active and to really, whether it's to lose weight, whether it's to think sharper, whether it's whatever the goal may be, you have to revert to discipline in order to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, do half an hour workout or an hour workout before you go to work, before you then get home from work and deal with your family. I'm the same. I've got 5 children. I have to scrape in those minutes or hours in order for me to find time in the day. Trust me, I'm pretty much like all of you, right? Bang, 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 bang. You go, oh, where can I find the time? Revert back to discipline. I wake up sometimes at 5 o'clock. I don't want to be up at 5, but I know, and I do just a half-hour workout. And when you do that, and you're disciplined enough to do the things that you know you should do, but you don't want to do. That's what discipline is. Knowing that you should do them. I know I should be doing this, but I don't want to do it. That's where discipline kicks in. And over time, say over 2-3 weeks, you're disciplined enough to do that 3, 4, 5 times a week. All of a sudden, you start to see a physical change. Wow, I'm a lot shocked. I can run up these stairs now and not be out of breath. Or I can run up the stairs with my kids. I'm playing in the park. Wow, I start to see a physical change, but also a psychological change. Action and activity stimulates the mind. Just for me getting up and walking, my mind is stimulated straight away by where I'm putting my feet. We're making hundreds of decisions in seconds, like bang, bang, bang. And it's the activation of the mind through action. And then you start to think a lot clearer. 2-3 weeks go by and you're feeling healthier. You start to think a lot clearer. You start to decision make a lot better. You start to really, realize what you're capable of, and then performance kicks in. And that's when you get motivated. So then you're then motivated. That discipline flips into motivation, because then you're then motivated to get up every morning. It doesn't become discipline anymore. So once you flip and you break that barrier into motivation, then you're motivated for life. And then don't for life, not for life, but for life. You're motivated to get up. You're motivated to play with your children. You're motivated to go into work, because I'm going to go into work and I go, hey, how are you? Yeah. And I'm going to take things in a different approach. And then don't get me wrong, that motivation will then sort of die out, and I call it, you hit a wall. And it doesn't have to be a massive wall. It might be, I'm not feeling too good today, or I'm not feeling, you might have achieved goal, or you've achieved something that you've set out to do. And then it's about reverting back to discipline. And the quicker you realize that motivation comes from discipline, multiple aspects do, but motivation comes from discipline, then you acknowledge that and you revert back to discipline. Then that time of being in that disciplined state is a lot less. So rather than doing it for 6 to 8 weeks to 12 weeks, it becomes a 2-3 day journey, because you get back into that state of mind where you're disciplined, and then it flips back over into motivation. So everything that I do in life, I revert back to being a disciplined individual. And that, again, is doing the things that you should do. Your body's telling you it. People are probably telling you it as well. But you hold all the answers here. You can't lie to you. That's what I love about the human body, the human. You can't lie to yourself. I say to people, if you lie to yourself, guess what you're going to do? You're going to live a lie. But ultimately, to never ignore that. Just chip away at it, small. But I always revert back to discipline, because it breeds motivation, it breeds success, it breeds mindset growth, physical growth. It breeds so many things. So that's what ultimately the military gave me. And once I broke that process down, I found it quite easy to be honest with myself.
Fantastic. Great answer. So I've got hopefully what I think is going to be a powerful question now. So I'm going to put it to you guys first. And that question is, how many people have got, how many of you in the room have got people in your teams that you trust? Raise your hands. How many of you would trust those people with your life? Raise your hands. With your life. Yeah? Amazing. Fantastic. Good stuff. So, Anne, when it comes to building teams, you had to trust colleagues with your life on the ground, in the moment, in the action. How did you go about picking people in your teams, in the military, that you could trust with your life? Are there any special techniques that we can take from that we can put into our business?
Yeah, trust I believe is a word that's thrown out there too easy. You know, trust and a bond. Now, a bond is something that I believe you have to go through an emotional connection with someone, and for them to really, firstly, identify that you're going through this emotional challenge within yourself, and secondly, make your own emotions work for you.